Hello everyone, in today's video I'm going to show you how Ollama parameters operate. The first thing that we need to do is to configure the environment. To do that you can just refer to the GitHub repository to ensure that configurations are handled properly. So this is the code that we're going to be using. This is the file that we're going to run, and the requirements are in this file. This is the readme file, and this is um, the template that we're going to be using, which is just a single index.html file. So we're going to run this application, and we're going to see how these parameters work together. The first thing we need to do is to ensure that the first parameter, that's the most important parameter, is set, which is the model parameter. So we need to select a model from Ollama. This is the model that we're going to be using, and we need to make sure that we test some of these parameters. So in this video I'm just going to test two of these parameters. The first one is the temperature parameter, and the other one is the max response length parameter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first explain this parameter, and then I'm going to write a prompt, then I'm going to test it, and then I'm going to also do the same for this one. This parameter, you can see it controls randomness. So we have um, certain values that are deterministic, and we have certain values that are creative values. So the higher it is, the more creative it gets. The lower it is, the more deterministic it gets, which means the less randomness it has. So to test this, we're going to start with a very high value like this, and we're going to have a very basic prompt like what is 2 plus 2. You can see this is the response that we got. Let's try it again. You can see this is now the new response. This is the new response. This is the new response. This is the new response. You can see that the responses, they're changing, and there's a little bit of creativeness and there's a little bit of randomness in the responses. Now let's try and reduce this to 0.1. This is the first response, second response, third response, fourth response, fifth response. You can see that the responses that we're getting are now deterministic, which means that the responses, they're very what? They're very they're less random than the previous one. This is the first thing that we need to be aware of, which is the temperature parameter. Now let's try and write a story, something like this, and we're going to test this max length parameter. Let's start with 550 tokens. You can see this is the response, which is a very interesting story that we got from the model, but we have 550 tokens generated. We're going to reduce this to 50 tokens to check the difference between the two. Now you see the response that we just got. These are just 50 tokens. So let's try it again. Let's try it again. Let's move it to 800. So this is the difference between having a longer response length and a shorter response length. And also this is the difference between having creative value set and a very deterministic value set. So to have a more um, balanced and a more uh, better response, you need to make sure that you set the correct values for this parameter and also for the max length parameter. So this is just an introduction to Ollama parameters. The parameter that we also used is the stream parameter, which is this parameter, this, which is just helping us output this token by token. So these parameters are very important. You can try to test some of the other parameters, but for now we're just going to focus on these two, temperature and max response length. So if you have time, you can try this. You can go to this GitHub repo. You can clone this. You can install Ollama if you don't have Ollama installed. You can clone um, this repo. You can install the requirements, and you can try to run this and test some of the other parameters. So this is all we're going to talk about, and today's video is over. Thank you for watching.